I was like, I want to prioritize living my life first, and then I'll continue running my business. So yeah, I think at this point my husband doesn't complain anymore about like,
it's a good KPI.
where's my wife?
It's a good,
you know,
it's a good KPI.
He's always like, we are roommates at this point.
First gen K-pop is better than fourth gen K-pop.
Yes.
Ooh,
Easy.
Easy.
I mean, that's true. Hi, I'm Sean.
And I'm Kevin.
And we're the hosts of This Is Not a Phase. Welcome to episode 2. We're here with a friend and our guest, Carol Pak. She is the founder of Sool, a global provider of Korean ready-to-drink beverages, which includes also Makku, America's first craft makgeolli, and also Soku, America's first soju sparkling cocktail. Carol, what are you here to prove to us?
I'm here to prove that craft makgeolli is not a phase.
Yeah, okay. Well, cheers to that. Let's go. Cheers. And also cheers to International Women's Day. On the day of this filming, it is International Women's Day. Also March 8th, also my mom's birthday. That's how I remember it.
Oh.
I called her last night at midnight. It was a little bit late. So we will go straight into our first segment, which is what we like to call Tell Us How You Really Feel. We're going to ask you some hot seat questions, and we just need you to answer as honestly as possible. Tell us how you really feel. If you get it correct, or if you tell the truth, Kevin and I will drink. If you tell a lie, you'll get shocked, which I think you mentioned you played one of these, right? I think they kind of hurt, but maybe that's just me.
I never got shocked before.
Oh, you're such an honest person then. Okay, so we'll find out. And if you ever want to pass, we do have some very spicy noodles for you because obviously you're not able to drink if you want to take a pass on a question. That sound good?
Okay.
So, you ready?
Yes.
So, okay, let's see. I want to make sure this is
You don't look stoked, Carol.
I know. Okay, this is the warm-up. This is how we found out. So, we'll go ahead and get started. So, get your hand in here. First question. Do you think Makku and Soku taste better than Lunar? I'm gonna
Yes.
press the button. Yes. I
Oh,
guess we'll
shit.
find out.
Time to get shocked.
We found out. The truth comes out. Hey, cheers to that. Cheers to that.
Wow, that woke me up.
Right? I remember. Oh, this is no joke. This is no joke.
It's like equivalent of coffee, just in the morning.
Yeah,
One
it
of these,
is. Just wake up in the morning to one of these.
shot of espresso.
Okay. We got a couple questions. Okay.
Okay.
Was that the warm up? That was the warm up. All right, cool. Next question is: do you think Korean dramas are superior to American dramas?
Yes.
I personally have to agree with that one.
They're so much better.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
No.
In my head, I was like, oh, there are some exceptions, like Game of Thrones and
So this
few other ones.
works
The Last
after
of Us.
all. This works after all. I haven't seen Last of Us, though. I know I need to.
Yes. But it's good. Just wait till all the episodes are
Yeah,
out.
that's
You can just
true.
binge it.
And I've only played part of the game. So I still don't know the full plot either.
Well, I never played the
Yeah.
game, and it's really good.
The game was pretty good.
You
little
was
bit.
first?
Yeah.
Or no, right?
Yes,
I believe the
first.
game was first, yeah. So, okay, we got 2 more questions then. So, if you may. First gen K-pop is better than fourth gen K-pop.
Yes.
Ooh.
Easy.
Easy?
Easy.
I mean, that's true. What? True. True.
That was
Or the
truth.
machine is pleading the fifth.
Alright. Well, okay.
All right, last one.
But that was the best question. That was so good.
No, I think
I
this
was
was
very
better.
confident about
This-
that one.
That's right. This one's, I think, is going to be better. Who's your favorite, Kevin or Sean?
Ooh.
Carol.
Carol! No, it's not.
That's an unfair question.
That's a bite of the spicy.
Oh, true. Is that a pass?
That's a pass. Right
Is that a pass?
That is a pass.
Okay. Let me go again. Okay, bye.
Hey, you passed it too. That was truth.
Huh?
That was truth.
Oh, yes, Carol.
You passed.
I got the 2x screwed up bokomyeon.
Oh my god, I never. I want to try this 2X?
Yeah, 2X.
Is there a regular Prudak one?
There's regular.
Did the
I can just have one noodle.
Yeah, just one bite. Just one bite. There are 3Xs too. When I was like, that's a little insane.
Dude, yeah, like my butt really hurt the next day. Like, no joke.
How are you doing?
How you doing?
It's okay right now.
It's okay. Let us know if you need. Yeah, let us know if you need water.
But, so far so good.
So good. So we'll kind of move on to the next segment, and really it's to dive a little bit deeper into kind of your background, your upbringing a little bit, and getting probably a little bit closer and more relevant to Makku. Mm-hmm. You're born and raised here in Flushing, Queens, in which is a predominantly Asian American neighborhood here. So, what role did kind of Korean culture, and let's call it K culture in general, play kind of in your upbringing?
Mm-hmm. I think I never knew that Korean culture was not kind of like super major in the United States, because even my non-Korean friends would watch Korean dramas. We would listen to Korean music. So when I got to college and I went to Michigan and I was
Go Blue.
exposed to a lot of non-Queens people, and they would be talking about like Linkin Park and like, I don't know, Eminem and everyone who else that they were listening to when I was like in middle school, but I was listening to like HOT and GOD and SES.
Yeah. First gen, let's go.
Yeah, I was such like not an outcast, but I was very unfamiliar with pop culture, and I didn't realize like, oh, that was American pop. And even now, till this day, Fred always makes fun of me, saying like, I lived under a rock. I don't know any American culture. I've never watched any kind of these like classic movies. Whereas I make fun of him because I'm like, you never heard of this artist and you never watched this Korean drama. So I think I almost felt like, the Korean culture was a much bigger part of my upbringing than like I guess the general American. And so like even food wise, because our restaurants, it was a lot of Asian restaurants, like I would have Korean food almost every single day. And I would like go to Korea for vacations and stuff. So I don't know, it was very, very much a part of my identity being Korean. So yeah, I think naturally, as I went to high school and college and graduate school, and there was always like this Korean American association, I would naturally fit in there, and that's what I was acclimated to, and that's what I gravitated towards. So yeah, I think everything kind of Korean American continued being part of my identity.
I guess I relate to a certain part there about like when Fred made fun of you for not having watched certain classic things. As someone who went to elementary school in Korea during, I guess, typical pop culture formative years, right? Kindergarten or first grade to fifth grade too. There's like, I remember when I came back from middle school and onwards, there was a lot that I had missed out on that I didn't really talk about, and like kind of smile and nod. And it's like, yeah, of course. So funny. And even though I hadn't watched it, so like I feel like I kind of went something similar too, where I was catching up on a lot of these things after the fact. Like I didn't watch Pulp Fiction until like much into college, just as one example. So going back to, I think, the original topic here, I think how much of your confidence, like you said, about your identity, like how much of that fueled, I guess, the original genesis of Makku, right? Or maybe you can kind of use this opportunity to tell us a little bit about how you ended up starting that.
Yeah. So when I went to Michigan and I came back and I started working, and then I had graduate school, I started making non-Korean friends, and that was when I wanted to introduce parts of Korean culture to them through either food or taking them to karaoke.
It really was the opposite of Kevin. It really was.
Villain origin story or something.
Yeah, so I feel like I was always kind of evangelizing, and this was before like the really strong Hallyu wave, and before basically everyone knew about Korean barbecue and kimchi and karaoke and sticker pictures. So especially in business school, like I was the one who was always like trying to take all my classmates to K-Town and try soju and try Korean barbecue. And I also kind of knew that I wanted to start my own business one day. So I think the issue was kind of like, I don't know what kind of business to start, but I have a feeling it's going to be something from like my Korean heritage. So I think I was always kind of looking for ideas or thinking of ideas in the background. Like I wanted to do kimbap. I still want to do that. But yeah, like I also started seeing like Korean beauty companies starting to come in and Korean food products like starting to popularize. And I was thinking, okay, this is great. Like this is the wave and it's not going anywhere. And it's a larger trend that will help me overall if I do start a business now. So what product can I take and what industry am I passionate about, or do I have a competitive advantage? And at the time I was working at AB and Bev, so I was already working in the alcohol industry and an industry I love. And I went to Korea and, you know, obviously there's soju, but I was a little bit intimidated by that because there's a few large soju brands and I just didn't feel like I would want to compete with them.
Because I feel like they're market share wise, they're like bigger than all the big beer brands combined here in the States as a reference point, right? Or at least certainly feels that way.
I don't know, but yeah, it's not as fragmented and it's definitely like monopolized.
Right. Like craft soju is not a thing.
Right. It's not a thing. And also I had somewhat of a background in fermented alcohol, which beer is, not distilled alcohol, which what soju is. And that's different laws, different production. So I decided, how about makgeolli? It's fermented. It's very underrated, yet it's been around for thousands of years. And I really feel like there is a larger place for it outside of Korea. So yeah, it was a natural progression of me always wanting to continue sharing like Korean culture, me being very, very confident as like a Korean American and feeling that founder product fit. And then because actually I had a tech company when I was 22 and I felt zero founder product fit because I don't have a technical background, nor am I interested in tech. So I think fast forward like 6 years later, I was like, okay, well, this is something I feel very comfortable learning more about. And whether this is 10 years of my life or 20 years of my life, this is an industry that like I really feel passionate about and feel alignment with.
I feel there's a couple of things to unpack there. First of all, I'm super curious when you were evangelizing for Korean culture back in college, what were some wins and things that weren't working back in the day? Like what were things that people were receptive to back then versus like, you know, things that maybe are commonplace now, but that weren't receptive back then?
I don't know if it was because like I was there, but
Definitely
I never
because you were
really
there.
got negative feedback. Like
Okay.
I always had the same kind of itinerary. It's like some guys always have their same first date.
Yeah.
I would take them to K-Town. We'd do Korean barbecue. We'd order rounds of soju. We go to karaoke, do rounds of soju, and then the ones who remain, we go eat again.
Yeah.
And then drink more soju.
Samcha.
Sometimes we go to Mission. So like it was always that same itinerary and I feel like the only complaints people had were about the hangovers the next day.
That's just them just being soft.
But yeah, they had so much fun and they always wanted to do it again.
Yeah.
And
you don't like soju?
Yeah.
You don't like the taste? Take another shot. You'll like it at the end.
My favorite is when you get people who try it for the first time. They're like, oh, this is just like watered down vodka.
I know.
So easy. And they're the ones that are always first to go.
I actually went on to a Poconos trip with my friend's boyfriend who's Caucasian, never had soju. He can drink more than any of us. Literally, we found him like face flat on the floor. And the next day, and he just blacked out at like 7 p.m. And the next day he was like, I don't know what that is, but I will never touch that again. Because he was like drinking it like water.
Yeah. And it's
dangerous.
It sneaks up on you.
It
sneaks up on you. And it's also, little do they know, most of the folks, I feel like the export version of soju is weaker, right? Because my dad, he's like, when he's in Korea, he's like, oh, give me the red cap, right? And like, Dad, what's the red cap? He's like, oh, that's a strong
Original
one.
one.
Yeah, that's the original strong
What's the
one.
ABV of the red
I think
cap?
it's like 18% or 21.
So it's changed over time,
Yeah.
but it used to be around 21%.
Yeah.
And then the blue one, which we drink, was around 19%. And then I think recently everything changed down like 2%.
Right, to like 16 or 17, right? Yeah.
Lower ABV is kind of a trend in Korea too.
Once you decided that this is kind of the category in the industry that you wanted to do, like, how fast was it from that moment to actually launching the product?
So I thought it would take 6 months to launch in the market. So I incorporated as soon as I figured out like, okay, let me try building a brand, which was summer of 2017. And I thought by summer of 2018, I'd be in the market. But it turns out that makgeolli is very hard to make, and none of the breweries in the US are equipped to make makgeolli because it's a combination of brewing sake and beer. So not only do you need the equipment for both and the knowledge and expertise for both, but you also need the licensing for both, which are different licenses. And beyond that, we also were packaging it in cans. So it was almost like just this Frankenstein of brewery needs that didn't yet exist in the US. And on top of that, makgeolli has like wild yeast in it. So no brewery was willing to introduce our product to their facility in terms of like, because there might be cross-contamination. Yeah. No mobile canners wanted to work with us. And so I wasted a year looking in the wrong market for someone to accommodate our production needs. And after 3 or 4 batches in different breweries that all failed, and I spent tens of thousands of dollars on, I was about to give up, and I hit a fork where I was like, I am out of money. My parents won't fund me anymore. I don't really have anything to fundraise on. But I was able to find a pre-seed investor. Basically, I was back at zero, and I had located a brewery in Korea, and so they funded us to do that last batch. And I was like, okay, if it doesn't work in Korea, I'm done. But yeah, that's the brewery we still use today. And so by the time we hit the market, it was September of 2019. So it took over 2 years to get to market.
I see. So that point is past the, what I saw in some of your old Instagram about batch number 1 in I think 2018.
Yes, in Maine.
Right.
So that was one of like the 3 or 4 breweries that we had
went through.
Brewed in, and that was the one we stuck with the longest.
I see.
But it wasn't scalable. The QC was horrible. It wasn't fully pasteurized.
Right.
And I was manually filling, brewing, labeling, canning. I literally took 2 homebrew machines and I canned each one like by myself with my dad and my friends. And I literally like hand pasteurized every single one. I put the lids on. I pack took them. I palletized them. Everything was by hand.
Wait, sorry. So what were they doing?
They did like the steaming of the rice.
I see.
And like they let us use their equipment.
I see.
But I also didn't really trust them because they had never made makgeolli before. So I had to taste it. I had to pasteurize it. And they were charging us for every step, right? So I don't have the cash. So I was like offering my physical services to pay less.
I see. Yeah. So it's actually pretty darn close to a ghost kitchen equivalent.
I guess you could say so. Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. Pay with sweat equity, right?
I don't think I can over exaggerate how difficult it was. Sometimes I would drive up and drive back the same day. It was a 4-hour drive each way. You
said Maine, right?
Yeah. And then I would like be on my feet for 8 hours, like brewing and packing and it was miserable. So whenever I have hard days now, I'm like, it's not as bad as the Maine days.
That's so true.
Yeah.
People never know, like, when you see a new like product come to the market, you never know like all of the stuff that's behind, right? You see the glamour of something new to market, like wow, it looks amazing. That tastes amazing. Like wow, like why didn't I do that? Yeah. And you don't realize that it's such a winding journey for so long, and for 2 years plus just to get to step 1, really.
Yeah, we had to do 3 batches at the brewery to get to market. Like after hand doing all of that, we would like drive it back in a U-Haul, put it in our basement. And then my dad would be like, Carol, I hear popping in the basement. And then we go down and the cans are popping in my basement, after all of that work, after like tens of thousands of dollars. And then we would somehow decide to do it all over again. Yeah. And we did that 3 times.
3 times?
Yeah.
I think that's entrepreneurship. Yeah. It's doing crazy shit over and over again.
doing shit that doesn't make sense when you really think about
if
it.
that was like 5 years ago, my age now, I would have given up after the first batch. I'd be like, I'm gonna get a job.
Something about being young and foolish, I feel like, definitely helps, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think we can, at this point, start thinking about transitioning to the last segment here, which is, we'll still be mostly conversation, but what we're going to do is we'll pick a couple of questions out of a pot or a pool here to talk about. So if you want to go ahead and just pick whatever, and we'll go ahead and chat about it. You want to read it for us?
How do you stay sane and not let Sool consume your life?
Yes, I'm super curious about this because I feel like you do it all.
As a solo founder specifically, I think that's mind-boggling to me.
Yeah.
The last 2 years, I was really burnt out. And I didn't realize I was burnt out. But I definitely hit a point, especially at the end of 2021 and all of 2022, where every day I felt like I don't want to do this anymore. And it was a really sad realization because I was like, I'm building this company unwillingly at this point, and how can I kind of guide my team and try to fundraise and convince other people that this business should exist when I'm not so sure I want to continue doing this. And I thought about why I felt this way, and it was just true burnout. And I didn't know, I thought it was the only kind of option I had, given that I just couldn't find a way to work less. So at this point I was working 12-hour days, 6 days a week. Most of my social activities were somewhat related to work. So even though I was so grateful that I had made a lot of founder friends and a lot of inspirational like people around me and these events where I was learning all the time, I just felt like I had lost the sense of myself. And I felt like all of my relationships were suffering. I felt like my health was suffering. And I realized, and I was also meeting founders at the same time that had been on a similar length of journey as me, like in terms of timeline, and they had folded their businesses and were left with nothing. And I was so scared to be in that position.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to focus on myself now, and I'm going to kind of go only to things that are necessary, and I'm going to try to prioritize my husband. Like me, I was 33 at the time. All my friends were having babies, and starting a family was always like a priority for me as in my life. And I was starting to worry about like, what if I become too old to have a baby, and how do I balance family and a business? And I was like, I want to prioritize living my life first, and then I'll continue running my business. So I think when I realized I'm going to start prioritizing my life, that meant I'm going to stop working at this hour. I'm not going to work on weekends if I can handle it. I'm going to say no to a lot of things now that it's not going to move the needle. I'm not going to make decisions because I feel bad. I'm going to cut all the wrong people. I don't have to spend on things I can't afford, so I don't have to give my team all of these luxuries because, I was trying to please my team all the time. I was giving them a lot of luxuries we couldn't afford. A lot of people and contractors I hired, I was paying them market rate, which we really couldn't afford. So I think I just became a lot more selfish. And once I felt healthy again, mentally and physically, I don't know, the business, it just became so much more clear for me.
I see.
Like the times and the things I was wasting my time on, and it wasn't propelling the business forward, it just became so clear to me because I was like, I went from having 12 hours a day to like 9 hours a day. And if I'm going to cut 3 things out, like, no, I'm not going to talk to these 4 agencies who want my business. I'm not going to talk to you, new bank, that I don't really need to hear about your credit card options. All of the people who want my advice as a founder, you can be on hold. I don't want you to, you probably don't want to start a business anyways right now.
Wait, so we made the cut? All the times we asked for your advice, we made the cut? Aw. Yeah.
No, I mean, I learned just as much from you guys too. And really, like, you two are the few people where I really feel are friends, and it's not like a business suck.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like an energy drainer. So yeah, I think at this point my husband doesn't complain anymore about like
it's a good KPI.
Where's my wife?
It's a good,
you know,
it's a good KPI.
He's always like, we are roommates at this point. We are roommates, and I just get your leftover time, which is like barely any time.
This is funny because my partner has literally told me that verbatim at one point. Actually, several times.
Can also confirm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not unique to me. I've heard it from every founder. I think I even went to a panel yesterday, like first event I've been to in like months, and it's 2 founders that hundreds of millions in revenue, and they struggle too still. And they said that, you know, once you decide to start this business, especially if you're like venture backed and you're trying to scale, you have to commit to working long hours for 7 to 10 years. And I was like, wow, I still have 4 years left to go of working this way. But yeah, I think long story short, it really means nothing when I feel like I lost my sense of joy in this, and like losing my sense of health, because truly as a founder, if you're not happy, your team sees it, it affects your work. And when I was fundraising and I realized why I couldn't raise money, I had investors straight up ask me after my pitch, it doesn't really seem like you want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
You still want to do this? And like, that was the question I was getting from new investors. And I didn't realize how unhappy I visibly looked to everyone. And I remember even once I saw, when I had this realization saying like, even if the business goes under, I have to put myself first and let me focus on myself first. I had met a founder that I had known for a long time. And he was like, wow, Carol, you're glowing. You look so happy. What happened? And I was just like, you know, I just changed perspective.
I think that's the truth of it, is like, as a founder, you're playing the long game, but then we get caught up in the day to day. Just like, you're always trying to push the needle forward. You're always trying to do something extra. Like, oh, I can just one more email. Like, let me just spend a little extra time. And you're sprinting. And, you know, if you're venture backed, you also have people that expect you to sprint, right? But like when you pause and you're like, hey, like this is a long game. Like this is a 70-year, 10-year business. Like this is not just for 2 or 3 years. You can't sprint the whole time.
I think I always would be like, I'm only young once.
Yeah.
So like I could just like
That's true.
put all this stress on my my physical self. But then you realize like I'm kind of slaving away my youth years, where I started realizing like I want to enjoy life as a normal human apart from being a founder.
Yeah.
And I want to experience life, you know, and I want to take the time to go see a show and go on vacation.
That's why we got our circle days out early.
That's right. We did it. We did them all.
That's why we got it out of our system early.
You know what this makes me think of is like in high school, it's like you're like studying for the SATs. So you go to school and you like do all this shit, like extracurricular stuff. Then you like study for the SATs at night. And then you go to Kumon or whatever the hell, like, you know, prep school, like Hagwons, you go to Hagwons for like forever. You go home and I'm like, damn, that's not sustainable. Like you can't do that forever. You know, like that's kind of, I don't know. That was my complaint growing up. I was like, Mom, that's too much. I can't do this. I got to quit piano. I can't do piano anymore. Like that's too many things on my plate. I got to quit Chinese school.
I just cut all the
Props to
time.
you guys. I think that's so much harder for me. I'm very much like, okay, fine. Okay, I'll do it. And maybe that's just like the Korean in me. It's something that I'm working a lot on personally.
Looking back, I feel really sad because the way I was running, it wasn't very efficient, and I was kind of making all the wrong decisions.
I see.
So because I hadn't stopped and I was so burnt out, I don't think I took a step back to realize I was just spending time on such minor things and just kind of like picking up for all the slack that my team wasn't doing. And instead of addressing those issues and like taking a step back, I was just like doing, working. So
But it still helped you get to where you are today, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I'm glad that I did all that in the past because and I still have to work hard, right? I still have a very tiring week and my brain never shuts off.
You got to come on this podcast and talk to people.
Come all the way along.
No, but like it's become enjoyable again. And I think actually one big thing was I felt like always so like I had this huge burden of I need to pay back my investors. I need to pay back my investors.
Yeah.
What if I lose their money? And I have to grow at this rate. And I think all of these expectations that I was setting, it was self-imposed. Like I made these targets up by myself. I have to triple next year. I have to double next year. And whether I hit 800,000 or 1 million, like they would not have blinked an eye. It wouldn't have made a difference.
Right.
So yeah, at the end of the day, they want a healthy founder.
That's true.
They're betting on you. They're not necessarily like that's why pivots exist. Yeah. It's not the idea, it's not the business, it's the founder and their ability to execute and to persevere. Like that's kind of really any good investor, caveat would that's what they bet on, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And I think one of like the biggest regrets I had was like last year was a really tough year for us. A lot of inventory issues. And we had very little growth from the year before. And I just like could not get over that because we had the potential to grow more. And I just felt like I should have done this, I should have done that, I could have prevented that. And I was telling this investor, like, I'm so scared to try to raise money, or I'm so scared to like show my numbers because we didn't grow the way, like we didn't double. I was like, at the very least, I wanted to have doubled, right? And he was like, Carol, literally like almost every brand, it's almost in our industry, if you're flat, like we've seen so much of that this year, investors won't blink an eye. Like there's a lot of brands who have decreased their sales in the past year.
There are unfortunately a lot of brands that didn't make it.
Also there's so I don't know, he just took it so lightly, like something that I was like, oh, do I tell him, do I not? But he just took it so lightly, and he was basically like, so what does your future look like? You know, like what are your goals? Like, and what's your vision? It has like 1 year, and you have all these reasons for that. And we're looking at the potential. And so I just think thinking bigger and kind of doing a zoom out is super helpful.
I'm getting shades of telling my mom I got a B energy and be like, okay, cool, like, just do better.
Really, Sean, just do better, man.
Yeah, it's like, you got it, you're good. It's okay, it's not gonna kill you.
Hug one tomorrow.
Yeah, that's right. Extra hug one tomorrow. You want to pick one more? Yeah.
Keys to building a loyal fan base.
Oh, that'll be a good one. Because I feel like Makku and Soku have a rabid fan base.
Yes, which I can't really credit myself for this.
You guys have a damn good product. I don't know.
Yeah,
who are you going to credit besides yourself?
Good product.
So yeah,
it's not us. It's not me and Kevin. That's for sure.
I don't know how to build. Like, I actually didn't know we had such a loyal fan base until I heard it from like our third-party service providers. I hear it from some retailers. I hear it from restaurant owners, because the only kind of interface we have with our consumer directly is really like our social media channel. Because as you know, alcohol, you can't do direct to consumer. Lots of challenges with that. There's little visibility because we have the distributor, the retailer, and then the consumer. So how do I really know who's purchasing my product? But I mean, one way I knew that was just throughout COVID, there was really nothing we could do to grow the brand because like we couldn't do events, restaurants were closed, we couldn't do any demos. So it was just people picking up our product on the shelf and sharing it with their friends. And that's how we grew very like slowly and steadily. And people were telling us online. So from like hearsay, we were like, okay, I guess we have a loyal fan base. I think it's because we have such a differentiated product.
Yeah.
But where I'm trying to figure out how we could do better is like, how do we build a community now? Because the relationship with our customers is very like one-to-one. And we try to do some things like events, or like for Valentine's Day, we try to do like find your soulmate and try to like kind of connect single people together.
I was like, that's so cute.
So we're thinking of ideas to try to connect our community with each other, because one thing we found was like when we have events, some people come alone to try to meet others, and they have expressed, you know, they feel lonely. And I think it was just kind of a natural result of COVID. And so, I don't yet have the answer, but we are trying to figure out how do we build a community, because it will make our fan base more loyal. But in terms of keys to a loyal fan base, I mean, I really feel like it's what the company stands for, the values. Obviously, you need a good product, but does that resonate with the consumer? And I think for us and like your company, I think people see it's like high quality ingredients, it's transparent, it's authentic, it's founded by AAPI. We support AAPI. It's small business, so if it's not super unique to our company, because we know like 5 other brands who stand for all of those things. But I also hear mail, like I read mail like, you are a Korean woman entrepreneur, or you're an Asian entrepreneur, you're a female entrepreneur. So, or like, I don't know, we went to high school together, and they find that inspiring. So I think a lot of it stems from the founder, and I'm not a forward-facing founder, and it's very hard for me to be on camera and be one of those TikTok founders.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks for being here. Yeah.
But yeah, some people will do research, and I don't know. I think they find the story very inspiring, and or it's the product. The product itself, like Makku specifically, makgeolli means something to them, and so they resonate with it because we're one of the only makgeolli companies out there.
True. I never told you the story, but my younger sister, who's at school in Tennessee, she texted me a menu at a bar that she was at her friends, and it was like they had makku on the menu. She was just so excited, right? And like little did she know that obviously we're very close. And I was like, yeah, I know. And like she's crushing it. And because you expanded there, I think like last year, right? Last fall or something. But I think to your point, I think something about I think it helps people feel seen. At least I think that's how my sister felt. Because she, like me, also grew up in a family where it's like when it's a rainy day, you get your 빈대떡, you get your pancakes, and you get your makgeolli, right? So I think there's a lot of that as well culturally.
I would say also, like, I would not discredit being an API founder, because yes, like I think we see so many of them because all of us gather together, but that's because there's only so many of us.
We stick together,
like, there's only like 10, 20 API founders. Like the circle is not that big, which is sad, but also, you know, and so I think obviously we have a lot of bias because we are seeing each other all the time. But when you kind of zoom out and think about just all of America or the whole world, there's not that many Asian American founders making brands that are really authentically Asian American. Like that's really hard to find. So like, I think we live it every day. We don't like think about it, but I think that's the reality, is that there's still so much representation that's not like making it out there. You know, like people don't feel seen yet. And like when they see you and they see us, like they're like, oh shit, like that's what we've been missing this whole damn time, you know? Did any people like get together after your Valentine's Day event from last year? Do you know of any success stories? I want closure here. Like I know you did the event.
We never actually followed up.
All right, if you're watching this and you got together from Makku's Valentine's Day event,
that's right.
Send us a DM.
I know some people like connected. Like we connected people in chat rooms.
Oh shit!
But I don't know after that if people like really
guys.
Yeah.
Drop us a line.
Who needs Singles Inferno? We just need Makku's event. We just need Makku's Valentine's Day event.
Oh my gosh! In my next life, though, I would like love to be like a matchmaker.
Yeah.
Yeah. So much fun.
I think the fact that you came up with this event idea shows that like you listen to your customers. Like I think that is so unique. Like I don't know if anyone else who's done that. Like that's so unique.
Yeah,
like,
well, it's also very manual, so we're like, we can't keep doing this.
But hey, you gotta start somewhere.
Yeah. I think that heart is like that's heart, right? Like that shows through. You know, like, I think that is a big part of why so many people are so loyal to Makku. Like it's because of that. Like you're listening, you're aware. You know, even though we're not D2C brands, even though we don't have the data, like we're still out there. Like, you know, even running alcohol brands, like half the time you're just in the store giving out samples, doing tastings, doing demos. Like this is hours at Whole Foods, hours at Total Wine. People don't know this. Like this is just normal in the biz, and like you're listening at all times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I really feel like the soul of a company, it like stems from the founder, and it's like just somehow
The soul of Sool?
Yeah, if we do a good job, it's like felt through our community, and like we attract similar types of people. So yeah, I mean, I think just people associate Makku with like good feels, good relationships, good times, and
good product.
Yeah.
Amen.
Maybe that's as good a place as ever to start wrapping up. Kevin, you and I need to make a verdict. Do we think craft makgeolli is not a phase?
No, the shit's here to stay.
That's right. I think it's here to stay as well. It's been here for long, for even longer than Lunar has as well.
Absolutely.
Right? And I think, I don't know. I think
it's been thousands of years, as you said, and this is the next phase. Like this is it.
Yep. So super excited, and thank you for obviously for coming and spending your time with us. How can the viewers and listeners find you and also Makku and Sool?
So follow us at Drink Makku or visit our website at www.drinksool.com.
I guess we'll start doing the plugs. Obviously, you'll find the full episode of this on Spotify and YouTube as well, hence the videos. Listeners, viewers, a review is always helpful on the platform that you're listening to or viewing. But other than that, thank you for listening. We'll wrap up. Should we just say bye? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.